Hey guys, I'm here to walk you through this artwork I did of Gigi from hololive. If you like my tutorials and my videos on how I do things, please let me know in the comments. YouTube likes it when you comment. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. Helps me out, and let's get right into it. So first of all, I did the sketch, and we're going for kind of a smaller body type, more petite, almost younger looking. And let me explain the difference that makes a character look older or younger in anime. So typically what makes someone look younger is a smaller shoulder to head ratio and a bigger eye to head ratio. So in this particular artwork, I wanted her to at least look not too much older, but a little bit older. And the way I did that was the shoulder to head ratio is you can fit about 1.5 heads into the shoulder length, which is typical. The eyes I actually ended up doing a little bit narrower, but they are in fact larger when it comes to them being on the face. And what that does is it makes the character look older and younger at the same time. And it's definitely the face is more squished down, so she looks younger that way. So our goal is to find an in-between, a place in the middle, so to speak, of her being an adult, but her also looking younger. And I understand that that's not something a lot of people like, but it's kind of the current trend in anime to have the characters in that middle ground of young versus old. And it's definitely not easy to get right. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it is something that isn't kind of a fine line to walk. You'll also notice that I use a different color for the skin tone this time, and I'm using more desaturated colors this time around, because my trick is I always add saturation back into the artwork later. We are also adding 2 tones to the hair because the character we are drawing is Gigi from hololive, and she's definitely designed to, I would say, almost fit her personality of being kind of chaotic and almost like the younger sister type of vibe to it. Also, you'll see that I block out shapes when it comes to planning out the stomach and the rendering, and that is on purpose because I want to let the shading do all the work in terms of making it look correct. We don't want to draw too many lines. Typically, whenever you're rendering, you want the shading and the coloring itself to do the heavy lifting. So you may notice that this is still technically the sketch. It's like, why are you over rendering a sketch? Well, I like to plan out my artworks before I finish them. I find that if I do it this way, I tend to mess up a whole lot less whenever I do the finished product. So you don't have to do this, but I personally do it. In fact, I don't stick to what I did in the planning phase, and I kind of change it up a little bit later in the finished version. So this was kind of the whole idea I had going. The eyes are a bit more smug, I would say would be the tone I'm going for. There's kind of a trend with Gigi artworks that she has a smug tomboy-esque attitude, even though that might not be what she actually is portraying herself as. So it's definitely a trend. It's not fully my idea or anyone's idea. It's kind of the thing people like. So what you saw there was me planning out the post-processing and kind of figuring out how to glue all the colors together and get everything to look correct. This is the majority of what I do, kind of planning everything out and seeing if it works in the finished product. And I also adjusted the face a bit here because I felt like the face I was drawing wasn't quite correct. And now we're doing the line art. Now, I really love doing the line art. I haven't done line art in a while in my videos, as you've probably noticed, but doing line art is super important if you want to have like guidance with your colors, because good lines tend to guide where things go, whereas bad lines end up hindering it. So I would actually only recommend that you do line art if 1, you know what you're doing, and 2, you know when not to add line art to something. Because there is a time and a place for line art. And sometimes the best thing to do is to not add lines at all. In fact, just go straight into painting. And you'll notice with my artworks that sometimes I do line art, sometimes I don't. Even though I really enjoy doing line art, it's one of those things that you need to be sparing with it. So now we're doing the eyes, and this is kind of a style of eye I like to do that I haven't done in a while, and I'm glad I'm doing it again. Where I have like lashes from the bottom kind of like bleeding into the eye itself. Definitely something I really enjoy, and I think it looks really nice. So now we have the eyes planned out, and we are just adding the little details, and here pretty soon we're going to start the rendering. So we have the basic idea. I tried to color pick from my my sketch, but I ended up saying that that's a bad idea, and we're not going to do that. So here we're adding all the base colors in. Start doing some shading here pretty soon. Got the basic idea going. There we are. So now we're going to color the line art. This is a little trick I do. And it just does it really quick by going to filter correction and then making a clipping group on top of the line art layer. So we're using the rendering itself to kind of create depth, because in actuality we're not going to be doing it with lines, and we're using selection pen and kind of just planning everything out. There we go. Now we have the basic idea, adding the blush to the face, another third layer of shading on the skin, and now we are doing the clothes. This is actually a much more simple artwork than what I typically do, and honestly I kind of like the more simplistic look I'm going for this time. It definitely feels more intentional than my other stuff, so it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, you know what, I think I'm going to stick with this style because I think it works. There we are. Adding the highlights, little details to the shirt again. Zoomed ahead just a little bit. We're adding the add glow layer to kind of add another dimension to everything. Doing the eyes. Little details in the hair. A hard light layer. Some adjustments. And we are pretty much toward the end. Just some post-processing and we are good to go. Adding a sharpen layer. There we are. We are pretty much done. All right. If you like this video, thank you so much for watching. See you guys next time. All right. Bye.